Warning! This podcast contains spoilers for Episode 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the event finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Be warned, if you haven't watched those things, watch them and then come back to us. Okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 6. Story by Stuart Beattie and Joby Harold and Andrew Stanton. Teleplay by Joby Harold, Andrew Stanton, and Hussein Amini. We open on Tatooine, where Reva is on her feet, folks. She's
doing
up.
great.
She's banged up, but listen, this is a Game 7 situation, and she's a gamer. She's got to get it done, and she's going to grit it out despite having a lightsaber shoved through her guts. She's been led to Tatooine, of course, by the voice message on Obi-Wan's phone, and she's looking for Owen Lars. Where's he at? I'm gonna interrogate everybody here until I figure out where Owen Lars is at. Meanwhile, our baby rebels are fleeing Jabeam for Tessin on Roken's cruiser. Vader's flagship is in hot pursuit, and on board, Obi-Wan knows we ain't gonna make it, folks. The ship is taking hits.
The inspirational speaker is back.
We are not gonna make it. Back on Tatooine, where the sand is hot, but the Jawas are too. Young Luke Skywalker is in town with Uncle Owen, precocious young man already. But a citizen, though, who has witnessed Reva's tirade in town, comes up to Owen and is like, listen, you're in trouble. You got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. They're looking for you. Inquisitor's here. They're looking for you. Back on the ship, Ben informs Leia that, listen, I got to go. Darth wants me. That's the thing. Darth wants me, and if I leave the ship and go off somewhere to fight him, and I'll draw him off, and I promise you the Empire will stop pursuing this ship of families that are terrified, and they'll follow me, and I can draw them off.
Will they though? Like, they are looking for force sensitive people, so like I feel like this is not the most logical point, but I like the intention.
I like the intention, and I think it's a strong bet. Like, clearly he's overselling it, but I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, if we're talking, Anakin is obsessed with Obi-Wan. We know that. So if he's in charge of where they go, for now, they will be safe. Right.
Even Haja is like, Ben, don't do this. But it ultimately turns out to be the right move. Back at the Lars Moisture farm, which I have named Casa Wet, Lars tells Beru that we got to hide. The Inquisitors are coming. We got to get out of here. We're going to go to somewhere in the Dune Sea. There's got to be a cave somewhere. And Beru's like, shut the fuck up. Put your big boy boots on and gun up. Let me get these guns out of the hole, and we're going to fight it out here. And let me just stop and say, why are we even hiding the guns? Like,
I know.
Right? Isn't that fine out here?
Maybe keeping them, keeping them from the kid, maybe.
Oh, but in a hole that's at like kid level.
Maybe she was hiding it from Owen, because Owen looks at them like he's never seen a gun in his life, and Beru's like, "Here, pick your favorite. This is mine."
God,
like,
get a backbone. Jesus Christ, tighten your belt and
Beru,
let's go.
She was coming out shooting like I actually have to say that was like it really made the inevitable spoiler deaths in the future, in the future / past, more heartbreaking, because it's not just like, that he was randomly there. It's like they cared so much about him, and they fought. Though now I've seen how Beru is.
They're fighters. Yeah.
Now I see how Beru is. I'm like, I don't think they ever would have got her. That's a different body in that.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. They never got her.
Whatever happened back at Casa Wet in A New Hope, I will guarantee you now, after seeing this, that Beru had a blaster in her belt. Like, okay, Leia and Ben back on the ship. They have a heartfelt moment parting here with tears welling in Ben's eyes. He promises, "Listen, I'm going to return. Don't worry about it." That's a long shot. Let's be clear about that, but he does promise it. Then Ben has a private moment to himself where he tries once again to get through to Qui-Gon, Master Qui-Gon, through the Force cell phone. He says, "I have to face him, Master. Whether he dies or I do, this ends today." Now stop here. Let's just put a pin in that statement. Whether he dies or I do, this ends today. I love the sentiment, but I think the accuracy is a little bit off, but I'll have.
Can you deliver, Obi-Wan? That's the question. Can you deliver?
We will talk about that in all good time. Qui-Gon, of course, does not appear, so Obi has to do this alone. Roken waylays Obi as Obi's trying to leave. He's like, come on, like, let's stay with us. Let's try and fight it out. But Obi's like, no, I can't. But you, Roken, listen, you're fighting. Whatever it is that you have started here, keep fighting, because this right here, this is the start of something. We don't know what it is, but it's the start of it's the rebellion, Ben.
Yeah.
It's the
I want to
Rebel
see
Alliance.
it. I want to see the Roken and Empress Nest like show.
Yes.
Like, I want to see that. Please give me the early days of the rebellion show. I would love to see it.
As expected, Vader does peel off to follow Ben, despite a little bit of persnickety-ness from the Grand Inquisitor, who's like, we're supposed to be following the ships. Surely we cannot risk the mission to follow one man, can we? And Darth Vader is like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
yes,
what have you done of any use in any of the time I know you?
Do I know you? What? Do you think that you have some kind of pull here? Yes, we are fucking following Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they steer off. If you watch the Great Inquisitor in like the background, kind of like slightly, it's a 2-shot with Vader and the Great Inquisitor, and he gives this like he juts his bottom lip out like okay, but he's like clearly not gonna say anything because he doesn't want to get fucking force choked. Back at Casa Wet on Tatooine, Lars and Beru are like, Luke, here's what's up. Stay here, but if shit goes sideways, then run. But don't run now. Run later, only if we lose. Luke is very courageous, of course, but absolutely too young. And let's face it, he's a 10-year-old boy, meaning he's not the sharpest out there.
His force is not honed. Leia would be like, are you mad? Give me a gun. Yes. Leia would be grabbing one of Beru's guns.
Yeah, put me in the vent and let me fix something.
Yeah, she's like, give me a ladder. And Luke's like, I'll just hide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe actually the smarter choice in that moment.
You know, like, and this rings true because 10-year-old boys versus 10-year-old girls, the girls are going to be smarter 100% of the time. Luke is not.
Luke's like, I'm just going to have a nap.
Not about it right now. And just then the perimeter alarms go off, and that means Reva is here. Back with Ben, he lands on some desolate planet. Vader follows, lands in his ship, and we get a big old lightsaber fight that is awesome and great. Master and former student are at the tops of their games. Ben's reconnection with the Force, his recommitment to his Jedi training is evident, and Darth is, I think, as fast as we've ever seen him in live action.
Fast is the word for sure. We've never seen him like that in live action.
We've never seen him. He's still brutal. We saw him in Rogue One be very brutal, but he was still kind of like extremely powerful, and I don't want to say lumbering, but no,
he's always had that Frankenstein in the classic stuff. He had that Frankenstein element because he'd been chopped up. But now we know lightsabers not actually that much of a damage, so you can just be speeding around.
Right, he is liquid fast here, and it is a thing to behold. Back on Tatooine, a big old shootout has popped off. Reva is holding her own despite the gut wound, as we mentioned. But here I have to say, again, Inquisitor spin tech, we talked about it previously. What is it
Looks
good for?
cool, doesn't do nothing.
Looks cool, doesn't do nothing. It does one thing kind of well, which is it parries blaster bolts where you don't actually have to, like, you know, maneuver your lightsaber to the blaster shot. You just have to point the spin put that in between you and the person shooting blasters at you, and you can just like parry everything. And absolutely maddeningly, fucking Reva does not break out the spin tech. I don't know why. She's getting shot at and does not break out the spin tech.
Oh, you know what? I think Saul's right, actually. I didn't realize that. Vader snapped it in half.
Yeah, but wouldn't it still work if you have the one side? If
I
you
guess,
have the handle, it
at
still
least
would
it
work.
should spin, right? Yeah,
right, it
that's
should
true,
still spin
actually.
because the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels still spins it with just that.
That's true. You know what
with
else
just
as
the
well?
handle.
This is the real truth. We'll get to this. This is one of the many fun to pick apart like moments of
we love to do it.
It's like how can you continue the B-movie sci-fi fun of Star Wars and have the narrative tropes that and loopholes that are often used to allow things to happen how do they still work in a prestige space? I think the answer is with that this show's proven is like for some people it's fine, and for other people they're like, what is going on? We just like it though. We're just like, just use the spin tech. It looks cool.
Reva, use the fucking spin tech. That's what it's for. Back on this anonymous battle planet of pointy rocks, the fight continues, and it is crazy. It's easily among the best lightsaber duels we've seen in live.
They are, and one of the longest. They are sabering.
Very long. I mean, it's like a third of the episode.
Yeah, they're just fighting.
Vader is talking shit. We know that Ben's reconnection with the Force is nearly complete because he tries to drop a boulder on Darth Vader. And Vader says, "Your strength has returned, but the weakness remains." Oh, Big Bird! Big Bird from Darth Vader. Vader then Force splits the ground, which is incredible.
Drama.
It touches the ground, uses the Force to create a huge crack in the earth, which swallows up Ben into a huge crater. He falls down like 15 feet down into this huge crater, and then Darth is like, "You're done, buddy. I'm about to fucking bury you." And then he just hurls tons and tons and tons of rocks on top of Ben Kenobi, talks his shit, and then walks away. Now, listen, I personally think, Darth Vader, you got to finish what you start. You got to make sure. This is Ben Kenobi. You didn't come all this fucking way, fight with your entire Inquisitor Corps, stab one of your Inquisitors, and fucking get dirty looks from the Grand Inquisitor to come all the way here and not check if Ben is dead. But I get it. There's a lot of rocks down there, and he walks away. Okay, fine.
Ben and Anakin, yeah, they both have this problem. Now, is the problem truly born of the fact that they both have to survive for the original trilogy to happen? Right. Maybe,
that is part of it.
But it is hard to watch them both consistently just not kill each other. At least, I think you could at least, like, think. Something like, we'll get to it with what happens in a minute, but, like, this is definitely one of those ones where it's, like, in my shipping headcanon, I'm like, they can't kill each other because they love each other. But also I'm like, but you're both dumb. Like,
I think that works. You're right. For Darth, that works for me. Because what do we know about Darth, right? From the comics, from the movies, everything else, he's when he meditates, he's in this world of red Sith fire and pain with those little blue Force light butterflies flying around him. And I think that this is, I buy this as a manifestation of that little pinprick of light inside.
Yeah, he can't do it.
He can't do it. He's done everything that should kill Obi-Wan, but when it comes to, like, actually cutting off his fucking head with a lightsaber, he just can't do it now.
I also think that's really real. He can't do it right now. Because, like, he can commit, like, faceless genocide, but when it actually comes to, like, standing down one person who has harmed him, he's terrible at that. He can't do it. Those personal, emotional conflict is too real.
He can't do it right now. Back on Tatooine, Reva knocks out Lars, knocks out Beru, and flushes Luke from his hiding place, and Sky Guy Jr. goes off running into the night desert. Back on Battle Planet, fragments of memories, snippets of conversations running through Ben's mind. He ultimately focuses on a picture of Leia and his responsibilities towards her and towards Luke, and he finds the strength to free himself. Boom! The fucking rocks go flying. Amazing. He easily catches up to Darth Vader, who was not in any kind of rush to get back.
He was strolling.
Just a casual walk back to the shuttle. You'd think he'd be like, okay, job done. Let me hightail it back to the shuttle so maybe we can catch Roken and the rest. Like, maybe there's a shot we get him. But he is just like just casually walking back like, let me take in the air. That was wonderful. But then he feels Ben behind him and he turns, and then the fight is back. The fight is on, and it is Ben now who is getting the best of Vader. He, in an amazing display of strength, force strength, he like force throws Darth back into a boulder and then raises his hands and throws every rock in the neighborhood at Darth Vader.
So many rocks.
So many huge, like, rocks the size of, like, Honda Accords are
these are boulders. They're boulders and rocks, you know. He's really showing off.
legit huge fucking rocks, and Darth is taking many of these on his bionic arm, so he's able to kind of fight through, and the duel, he fights through the rocks, and then the duel continues. Boom, we go back to Tatooine, where Reva catches up with Luke in the ravine. Young Skywalker falls unconscious. This gives Reva a free shot at Luke, and here it is, the moment she's been waiting for. This is it. She's been, yes, she wanted to get Leia as a way to get Obi-Wan, as a way to get closer to Darth Vader, as a way to kill him, but this is good enough. This is pretty good, and here it is, but she can't do it. Of course she can't do it. She images of Order 66 and Anakin Skywalker and that night of fear and pain and her own fear, seeing herself now as the image of murder, which has so impacted her mind, and she just can't do it. Back on the battle planet, Ben is now beating the fucking brakes off Darth Vader, who it must be said, I love my guy. Listen, I don't love him, but I'm intimidated and respectfully appreciative of how badass Darth Vader is. He kind of gets his ass kicked a lot, and here he is getting his absolute butt kicked. Obi-Wan is smashing the fucking chest buttons on his armor. And now all of a sudden the ragged breathing is there. And then he, boom, slices down on the helmet. The helmet is cut open, and you could see that purple potato head and that horrific gaze through the helmet. And you can't help but think, if you've seen it, of the moment in Rebels when Ahsoka does something very similar years later, of course. And Ben is horrified at this vision of what his friend has become, his friend and brother. Anakin's gone, Darth says. I'm what remains. Now Ben's eyes fill with tears. He is, of course, weighed down by guilt and shame in the ways that he has failed his friend and brother. Now look what stands before him. And he apologizes. But Darth is like, don't apologize. Because
you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
Now, of course, much later in A New Hope, this is exactly what Ben will say to Darth's son Luke. He will say, Darth Vader killed your father. And this is very smart and very powerful and a really great way to underline what is one of the early, like, hey, wait a minute moments in Star Wars where you're
like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, what are you doing?
Where you find out that, okay, Ben knew that Darth was Luke's father, but then said that. So this is one of those, this is a great way to kind of
those context moments they're building in really nicely.
It really hit for me. So Ben is beat the shit out of Darth Vader. He's got, like, cuts on his back. His back is like smoking. His helmet is all smashed up. He's fucking got an asthma attack right now because his breathing apparatus is smashed. And Ben looks at this person who is at this point easily a mass murderer, having done numerous horrible things at the head of the Inquisitorious cadre. He's done a lot of bad shit in service of the Emperor. And Ben looks at him and is like, okay, I'll see you. I'm going to leave. Bye. I'm going to leave. I'm leaving.
See you later, man. My friend's gone. And I'm like, your friend's gone. That means you can kill him. You don't need to keep him alive.
I got to say, I get it. I do get it. At the same time, man, Ben is lucky that nobody ever found out about this shit.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, and this brings me back to the thing we were talking about last week with forgiveness and how do you talk about characters who are given who are redeemed in the story, but also kill millions, if not billions, of people. Imagine yourself as a rank and file soldier in the Rebel Alliance, right? Your family has been oppressed and perhaps murdered by the Imperials, by Darth Vader, by the Imperial forces, by Emperor Palpatine, and you want nothing more than to avenge them and free the galaxy. And then you find out that the Jedi's been doing Jedi shit again. Like that, you find out that the Jedis, while a terrible war crime has been committed against them, their leading figures, Ben Kenobi, who survived Order 66, and Luke even, let mass murdering Sith war criminals kind of walk away. If you're a rank and file soldier, you'd be like, hold on, we lost Alderaan so that you could let Darth Vader walk away? You let him fucking walk away?
Can you think about how disrespectful that is to Leia? Like the person you're allegedly doing all of this for? Like, I understand that in this moment, right? Like, the notion is still like, that is their father, and we see him kind of bring up, and I understand his quandary, but also he should have just chopped off his head.
You
like,
do
really
right here,
just
end
chopped
it.
off.
End it for the billions who will die on Alderaan, and I get it.
And also then
Moff
then
Tarkin,
inspired.
I get it. Moff Tarkin pulled the trigger. I get it. But like Darth Vader was right there. He was standing next to it. Like
they were trying to get information out of Leia, who's just too much of a real G, so that never happened. Like they're all to blame. And then also,
I gotta say, Ben, you're lucky nobody knows about this.
You're lucky, because also then think about this. Then it's not just those people. It's like the 5 planets that Kylo Ren blows up because he's inspired by old granddaddy. I have to say, I did think about Kylo a lot this episode. I was thinking about how happy he would be if he knew that Darth Vader's helmet got smashed. I was like, oh, he would have been so happy. He'll never know, the little emo, but he would have been so happy.
Back on Tatooine, Ben is en route. He gets a force warning that Luke's life is in imminent danger. This is the moment when Reva is standing above him, and he arrives back on Tatooine. He finds Lars and Beru anxiously calling out into the desert sands, Luke, 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 and dawn is breaking. Ben is like, I'm gonna go run into the Dune Sea and look for her. But then Reva appears, and she's carrying Luke, and she says, listen, I'm sorry for all the child torture,
kidnapping,
the off-screen but probable murders, the kidnapping, the evil stuff, the recent home invasion,
hunting down my own people
of
and
Casa Wet,
Jedis,
which, by the way, could have easily resulted in Lars and Beru's death. I'm very sorry that I invaded your home just moments ago. Plus the concussion and lifelong trauma that I likely inflicted on Luke by chasing him into the Dune Sea, threatening his life. My bad. It was all part of a plan to avenge my fellow younglings, and I couldn't go through with it. And then it's a weird note here where she's actually devastated that she couldn't go through with it. Like, she cries like, I couldn't do it.
Also, like, I want to know, like, did she put the connection together that they are Anakin's kids, and that's why she wanted to do it? Because otherwise I'm like, I don't know why. I think she knows that there's a connection.
She knows that they're important somehow, but she doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Ben then tells Reva, don't worry about it. Ben's
like, just go, kill some more people. That's what I do. It's chill,
listen,
man.
You actually honored the memory of your fellow younglings by not becoming like Darth. And she says,
that's a good point.
I think is a line that really carries a lot of weight. She says, have I become like him? Now, the answer is almost and kind of. Like, you did do a lot of bad shit, but Ben is like, no, you did not do that.
In that moment, he knows the right thing to say to put her on the right path, which is like, you have a chance here. Because really, she was hunting down Jedi, she was hunting down younglings as an Inquisitor. Luckily, they're bad at it, so she probably didn't find too many. But no, I do like that in that moment, Ben finally makes the right choice, and he's like, it's okay. Like, you can be a good person from now on, you know? Like, I would like to know what's going to happen next with Reva. You know, I would like to see
she gives up her Inquisitorious Spintech 3000 lightsaber, and
she knows it sucks. She's like, this is useless.
Now free. And now here again is another Jedi bullshit moment where I'll just say it's a good thing that the rest of the Rebel Alliance never finds out that fucking Ben Kenobi let a former Inquisitorious walk. Because
that's the reason they were all running away with their children, Ben.
I gotta say, if it was me, I'd be like, listen, you did the right thing. Kudos to you. Hey, what's that over there? And let's just put an end to this.
Let's remember, Vulcan's wife was stolen by the Inquisitorious and potentially turned into one. Like,
can somebody face justice just once? That's all I'm asking. One time, can someone pay the price for the many, many, many crimes that have occurred across the galaxy. That's all I'm asking for.
The sad thing, I think, is that you raised such a good point about last week. The sad thing is when we actually look at the history of Star Wars, the people who often end up paying the price are people who were who were bad, who actually decided to do the right thing, and then they end up dying. Tala, the kind of tragic, like, people who turn their back on the Empire. And it's like, for once, I'd just like to see a space Nazi die.
I would love to see that. But, like, it's always, Admiral Raddus, the Bothan spies, Jyn Erso, the heroes of Raddus, all the rest. Those are the people that pay the ultimate price, that face down evil and put their lives up and say, I will pay the price for justice in the galaxy. And unfortunately, it's a lot of the very powerful figures, the Jedi, etc., who just, they let their fellow powerful people get away with it.
Isn't that real? Isn't that sadly real?
It's very sadly real. Back at Fortress Vader, Darth is back in he got some fresh armor out of the closet, and he's FaceTiming with Palpatine, and Darth is a little hot. He's coming in a little hot. He's like, we got the probes out. I'm scouring the fucking galaxy. We're going to find this guy. He's not going to escape us. We're going to get him. And then Palpatine's like, hey, can I just ask, are you good? Like, you're coming in a little hot. And I feel
like you're a bit distracted from the whole, like, dark side mission. Like,
I gotta wonder, is your closeness to this weakening you a little bit? And then Darth is like, let me just assure you, Emperor Palpatine, Kenobi means nothing. I serve only you. And then with just the right drizzling of irony, my master. The way he puts my master on it, it's
perfect delivery.
You got to be careful with Palpatine, because one of these days he's going to pick up on it, because that in and of itself is just that hint of rebellion against Emperor Palpatine.
I also think it's a really good moment where it's like Palpatine's probably like, oh shit, like Kenobi used to be his master, look at how obsessed he is with getting him, and now it's like, now I'm his master. Like, this is probably not going to end well for me.
On Alderaan, which is by the way, a beautiful planet,
I love Leia so much.
All of Alderaan, we get this wonderful moment of Leia getting dressed in the classic Princess Leia soldier gear, but smaller size, age 10.
Tiny, baby size.
All white gear with the white cloak and the white jacket and the little leather gun holster. And she's doing her hair in the iconic Leia braid buns. And then Ben arrives, much to Leia's delight. She thinks she's like talking to Bail, and she's like, "Who's this? Is this going to be cousins?" He's like, "Not yet." And Ben gets off the ship, and he brought Lola. Now I have notes. Leia, I get it because you're 10, but you gotta fucking come clean about exactly what Lola's role in how Jabeem got like it's a little fucked up that you're not like
she learned from Obi-Wan. She's just Lola. Like, Lola's fine. If Lola still had the red eye, she'd be like, it's okay.
I get it because she's a kid again, but it's just a little fucked up that she's not like. So, by the way, the way the Empire hacked into Jabeem's security system was Lola. It was fucking Lola.
It was Lola.
That's also the way they tracked us. Just FYI, it was Lola.
You should know.
Does not mention it. Bail, bags of money, Organa is talking to Ben, and he is fearful of the Empire. He's like, listen, the Empire is getting bolder. They are getting stronger. They are reaching out into the galaxy and fucking with the internal politics of various planets. I'm scared of them. Ben is like, I get it. It is a scary time, but if you need me, you know where to find me. Then Leia is like, Ben, I think you need to go take a nap, because
she's like, you are old.
Let me tell you, if you don't get some sleep, you're going to look like fucking Sir Alec Guinness in 10 years.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
He did not take the advice, readers. Spoiler alert.
That is an old man.
He did not take the advice.
You're going to look super old if you don't start sleeping. Yeah. So then he tells Leia in what is a really touching bit of dialogue here. He's like, listen, you got these different traits from your mother and father. You know, your mother is discerning, and Your father is courageous. I would have, by the way, said that the mother also fearless, also very courageous, but that's okay. That's okay for now because Ben, of course, does not tell Leia here who exactly her parents are. He's like, you got all these traits from them, and so you're this perfect combination of them, and I wish I could tell you more about who they are, but I can't. And then Leia says, it's okay, you don't have to. Which, I gotta say, if it was me, I'd be like, motherfucker, tell me.
Just tell me who they are.
Just tell me who they are.
Was one of them that guy that was chasing us dressed all in black with a lightsaber? Is he going to destroy my planet in 10 years? Please give me a heads up.
And by the way, did you not finish him off so he can
Did you kill him?
Wreck my home world in 10 years? Anyway.
You could have told Bail Organa, could have been like, you don't need to worry about the Empire. I killed Darth Vader. And yet.
P.S. My fault. Your entire planet got waxed in 10 years. Anyway, they agree to keep their friendship top secret back on Tatooine. Ben is back in his cave. He has packed it up. He is moving somewhere deeper into the Dune Sea. We presume maybe someplace where he can more easily keep an eye on Luke from afar. He puts on some normal clothes, some non-Jedi clothes for once. Yeah, finally. And then he goes to Casa Wet for a meeting with Lars. And by the way, my guy Obi-Wan Kenobi, this guy loves nothing better than to ride a four-legged alien. This time a skinny elephant.
This is like his kink. He will always find a weird alien to ride on.
Loves to do this. Where was he during Order 66? Riding a fucking iguana.
When Reva asked him, I would have loved riding a giant lizard.
Where were you? Why didn't you help us? I was riding an iguana.
Sorry, man. I just loved him.
Sorry.
Also, I know this is one of those ultimate questions that people like us talk about all the time, and it's one of the funniest things to talk about. It's kind of like you can talk about it with Pokemon or Flintstones, and Star Wars works as well. Which aliens can you ride? Which aliens are sentient, right, and would be in the Galactic Senate, and which ones do you decide you're just gonna ride? It's like it's the ultimate logic question of Star Wars or any of these places.
So Ben has a conversation with his brother, ? Lars, and Ben admits, Lars, you were right. Luke needs a regular for Tatooine childhood. He just needs to grow up like a regular kid. He doesn't need to be hanging around. I promise to steer clear, but of course he's going to keep a watchful eye. He knows that Lars and Beru, more Beru than Lars, but he knows they can handle raising Luke
a lot.
Keeping him safe. Then Lars, in a wonderful surprise, like truly a wonderful. I don't know how this. I haven't fully processed how this works canonically, but this was a wonderful moment. He says, "Hey, do you want to talk to Luke?" And Ben says yes. So he goes over. He meets the young man and then rides off into the Dune Sea. On the way to the ravine across the Dune Sea, he runs into Master Qui-Gon freaking finally. And he's like, hey, I've been trying to reach you all this time. What's up? And Qui-Gon's like, yeah, but you weren't ready for it. Sorry. I've been watching all this stuff happen, and you just weren't ready to hear from me yet. That's the way I roll. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn. I've always been a little bit of a maverick, a little bit of a rogue, and that's how I do things. I'm showing up much later than you expect. Hey, and by the way, you have a lot of things to do, so and miles to go before you sleep, so let's get to it.
And they just go off like a funny buddy comedy. It's just like
they go off.
They walk together.
And that has been the event finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I quite enjoyed it. Your thoughts?
I thought it's very fun. I think I enjoy it. Like I don't feel like it. You know what? I guess especially as we were going through the recap, the thing that I really love about this, that I think they did very smartly, and hey, maybe it's a bit cynical, right? But I think it works for the most part. I liked how much context they built into the original trilogy. Like when I was thinking about it, like, here's why Obi-Wan didn't really get involved with Luke. One of the big questions we've always had. You know, that moment where he says to Bail, like, you know where I'll be if you need me. And then, you know, him and Leia kind of keeping it a secret but still having that connection. Like, that stuff worked really, really well for me. Yeah. I don't necessarily think... I think this show started off really, really strong. And I don't necessarily think that this is in the best of the best episodes from the season. But I had a really fun time watching it. I do think it fell into a lot of the Star Wars tropes of like, why didn't you just do this? But that's how it's always been. That's how Star Wars has always been. You have to have those kind of pulpy. You're not watching this for like a puzzle box mystery. You're watching it because you want to see Beru pull out like a blaster, and you want to see someone have like a 10-minute long lightsaber fight. And I didn't know this was something that I would ever get to experience, but you want to see Baby Leia choosing her own clothes, you know, throwing away the Alderaan garms and just like putting on her own little style. So like, I just thought it was really lovely. I think it's very fan servicey, but I am also a fan, so I'm always just fan, like,
and I would like to be.
I
serviced.
like to be serviced. Thank you. I'm always just like, people are like, it's fan service. I'm like, I'll take it. Nine times out of 10, I'm like, yeah. It's like, cool. I want to see Obi-Wan and Anakin have a fight. That's cool. I like
lasts
lightsabers.
the entire third act. Here's what I really liked about this series, and it's I think there's a through line here about from my perspective, my opinion, what I think is some of the strongest Star Wars material, and it is that pre-Rebel Alliance into a New Hope era that was so wonderfully explored in Rebels, which again is some of the best Star Wars out there, that is
absolutely
so incredibly executed in Rogue One, which again is probably the best Star Wars movie and only gets better and richer the more you watch it. With time, it gets better and better. And here again, we're seeing the stirrings of this nascent Rebel Alliance. There's no name for it yet. It's just people who have decided enough's enough. We're going to help people no matter what that means. If that puts us on the other side of the law, then the law is unjust. And we're going to fight. We're going to protect people. We're going to do good. It's the same thing with what I thought were some of the most interesting moments in Solo, a Star Wars story with Enfys Nest, as you mentioned.
Enfys Nest is just, I love that stuff so much.
Yeah, I think this is such a rich period of time, and seeing how I loved focusing on Obi-Wan, and I think Ewan McGregor, as we've said many times, just like nails it so many fucking ways. The tears in his eyes, the way everything, all of his failures come crashing down, you can read it on him, is great. But like meeting Roken, meeting Sully, seeing the path, seeing how all of this stuff comes together feels so rich to me. And to your word, like providing that context of a family drama, a friendship drama, all these like mini conflicts within the larger firmament of this galactic rebellion that is just beginning to stir. You know, I've always that's the stuff that I really like. This is why I like Clone Wars, why I like Rebels, and why what I loved about Obi-Wan.
I would love to see a show just called The Rebellion. Doesn't need to be called Rebels. We have Rebels. Rebels is brilliant. Like you said, it's some of the best Star. Definitely has one of my favorite finales of all time, which I always say. But like, I would love to see that explored more. I would love to see a show about how rebellions really begin. I would love to know more about Roken and Sully. I would love to see Enfys Nest. I love that notion of it's the ultimate question, you know, what is a terrorist? What is a freedom fighter? Like, those are the questions that are at the heart of Star Wars. And I think that a lot of people, what we've always said, right? And they do this in the books, but a lot of fans, we've always said, like, we want to see new characters. Now, Taika Waititi's talking about how that's what he's going to do with his Star Wars movie and stuff. I would love to see the shows commit to that. I would love, and we, you know, The Mandalorian, we get new versions, but like, I want to see the people. I want to see the soldiers who have to fight. I would watch a show about, you know, kids, the, you know, stormtroopers or the First Order troopers or the clone troopers. Like, I want to know about the people who have to live this, who are not the big headlining
not the Jedi,
heroes.
not the
That's
Force
why Rogue One is
sensitives.
so brilliant.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that is, to your point, it's a big galaxy. and there's just a lot of space to explore.
Yeah, the Outer Rim, we're waiting to see it. Like,
what is Saw Gerrera up to in these years preceding Rogue One, when he is, one of the few people to really see what the Empire is?
Yeah,
needs,
and him, you could have him when he was still in cahoots with the rebellion, when he thought that working alongside them was right before those arguments, changed. And I think that there is an exploration in the wider genre space, like definitely, obviously things like Umbrella Academy have been doing it for a long time. Who's a hero, who's a villain? But that seems to be coming more to the forefront in Marvel. We talked about it with this idea of these morally grey heroes. And that is a big thing that they're teasing with Black Adam as well, which is this notion of like, who gets to choose who's a hero, who's a vigilante, who's a murderer, what is collateral damage. And I think that is going to be, Star Wars would be very smart to explore that more, because they've been doing it for decades already, but we've got the time and space and the platform with Disney Plus. Yeah, and super producer Saul said Peacemaker too.
Yeah.
And Suicide Squad. I love that new Suicide Squad movie. I think those stories are really ripe for the telling, and I think people want to have those conversations now. So Star Wars is a great place to do that, and I hope we get more of that kind of storytelling.
I'm really excited. This is why I'm really excited for the Andor series, because I feel like this is more of that.
That's absolutely what it's going to be.
In that early rebellion space, when people of unclear moral standing come to a crossroads and just have to decide, am I going to keep doing this, or have I had enough? And I think that's some of the richest ground for Star Wars stories, and I'm really excited to see it. This was fun. I really enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi. I am legitimately surprised at how many twists and shocks they gave us, considering we absolutely knew that the top 3 characters in it could not die.
Yeah, literally
could not die, and legitimately that most, if not all, minus Reva of the Inquisitors, also could not die.
To be honest, to build stakes in a space where everyone knows who survives and what happens, that's pretty cool, man. That's an achievement.